Wendy Bell Radio is live.
That was pretty good. I was practicing in the car.
Were you?
Yeah.
You still blinked.
I'm like, give me, let's practice a totally vacant facial expression. There you go. Hi, everybody. Did you have a great Easter? It is so good to be with you. I'm glad you're here. We're still dealing with computer stuff, so hopefully we'll get it all figured out. Let's see what's going on. Did you guys know we were #1 yesterday? It's true. #1 on the leaderboard. Now, I don't know if that says...
Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
I want to hear... Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if that means that we're that fabulous or that nobody else was doing anything. Either way, I was delighted that so many of you were there. Thank you. Hi. What's going on? Let's get some comments buzzing. You guys have been incredible. And I want to read you a reason why you are so incredible. So Weekends with Wendy yesterday, I think it's had 20,000 views. Okay? Which is great, which is wild. Jimmy Dore, who is a comedian, also had a show that had 20,000 views. Okay? Our numbers, however, blow his out of the water. He's got 390,000 followers. We have 88. Okay, 1,000. Our 20,000 views from his 20,000 views from 390,000 followers got a like percentage when you guys click that thumbs up button, the Rumble button, 1.68%, with 1/4 of Jimmy Dore's audience. You guys had an on-air thumbs up percentage of 8.33%. That is crazy. That means with 1/4 his audience, we get 7 times the interaction on the same number of views. That's pretty incredible. That's you. There is no other you. That's why you're so special. So I just want you to know that. And Al, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So exciting. So exciting. And I just love you to death. So.
Okay, if we're having any issues today, I don't need help. I'm going to figure it out. So that's all I want to say.
Do you know when your dad would come home from work and you could tell right away it wasn't a great day? Yeah. And so you just kind of made yourself invisible. Yeah, I was really good at that. I'm like, you do not see me. I am invisible. How about the aliens, you guys? We have a guy on today his name is Steve Greer, I think. He's a physician. So he's an MD. And he was an emergency room doctor for many, many years. And then he became a ufologist. And he's part of this operation, this project, to basically tell the American government, let the American people know what you know. You've known it for decades. You've known it for generations. You've got to come clear with the American people. But they've got to do it the right way so as to not cause, but he says some things that are a little, So we're going to end the show with that today. Lots going on. Hi. All right, let's get some comments going. Do you guys have a great Easter? What did you do? What was the big meal? What did everybody eat? Now it's going to make me hungry. I have to figure out what to make for dinner tonight. 830 rumbles. It's fantastic. So our clock is weird too. So I'm going to be looking around a little bit. It might be a little bumpy at first because my normal clock is up here and it counts me down to the commercials and all of that. And I don't have that today. So we're going to... So if you'd like to chirp in and say, I'm doing a fantastic job, this is a good time in the comments section to be like, that Wendy Bell, she is fantastic. And I'll be like, it's actually fabulous, but okay. So then you can help me with that. Anywho.
We're going to try.
Oh my.
And do the press conference when it comes on. We will guaranteed have sound of it. I'm working on the video part of it.
Yeah.
So you won't miss it unless you want to see the video. You might. I don't know. So just a heads up.
The true backstory here is we're so close to gaining like operational control of everything and having it all be on the right circuits and everybody knows what's going on and the machines are all communicating. We're that close. And so there's a lot of troubleshooting for that one. I have nothing to do with it. I'm like, there. And I just talk. So thank God for him.
Right.
Typical man.
You know what?
Typical man.
It ain't today, lady.
P.S.
It ain't today.
It's freezing out today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you and welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. We deliver 3 hours of common sense conservative values a day. And quite frankly, 3 hours is never long enough, is it? I feel like when the show ends, I have 3 more hours we can talk about because it is glorious, ladies and gentlemen, to see the might and the majesty of the United States freaking military in action. I love it. We're going to talk about this daring rescue mission over the weekend. We're going to try to bring you President Trump. We will bring you President Trump when he's live at the White House at about hour number 2. And all of this, of course, with the promise that we will never lie to you. If you like that, wendybellradio.com. Download us, join the live video stream and the chat, and welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, I think the world is almost shell-shocked. And they're shell-shocked, which they twist into hatred for Donald Trump. They are completely mesmerized, gobsmacked, left speechless, literally don't know how to behave. When the president comes out over the weekend and he's like, look, you effing crazy bastards, if you don't stop fiddling around with the straight, I'm going to blow your country into the middle of next week. Tomorrow is bridges and power plants day. Literally, this is what the president tweets out. After this remarkable rescue mission where no man is left behind. This, ladies and gentlemen, 100% makes Donald Trump diametrically opposed to every single other president of this modern era. He tells you exactly what he's going to do. He tells you why he's going to do it. He doesn't tell you when, but he gives you rough estimates. Then he surprises you because if you don't do that, you're an idiot. And then he goes in, fulfills the mission, gets everybody out without people getting killed, and moves along and says, I told you I would. I did. Next, please. People don't know how to deal with that. Do you want to know why Democrats are so inside out, upside down? You've got a crybaby weakling culture that gravitates primarily to the Democratic Party, this party of feelings, of identity, of social oddness, of everything that's weird, that's wrong for you and tragic for your family. They're behind. And they attract these people who are, first of all, extraordinarily insecure. It takes a very strong individual to stand up to a crowd and to say, I don't think so. I'm not going to go along with that. I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to walk out and leave right now. Democrats and this soft, mushy group of militant whack jobs who follow the party, who associate with this is their new identity. This is their religion. This is their belonging, which is why you and I, as common sense conservatives, look at them, sadly, commonly with pity, and see very clearly their sanctimonious do-goodery of idiocy. Everything they say they're going to do is completely ill thought of. It is ill prepared. It costs more than it should. It takes longer than anybody imagined. And there's never a bottom line benefit to you or to me. President Trump says, we're going to go in. What's going on is wrong. I'm going to tell you, I want it to change. I'm going to give you an opportunity to fix it. When you don't take my opportunity, I'm going to bomb the crap out of you. And we're going to start perhaps a little small. We're going to destroy a bridge that you spend a lot of time and money on. That's the teaser, beezer, appetizer. Because what comes tomorrow will be complete obliteration that is going to pain President Trump to call the shot for. He doesn't want to destroy the country. He doesn't want to dismantle every single thing. He doesn't want the Iranian people knocked back into the Stone Age, but he wants the leadership to cease and desist and to be destroyed, to cut the head off the snake, to dig out all of the fibers of the cancer, to excise the cancer, radiate it so the crab can never come back. Yes, all while building a force field over the United States and our friendly neighbors here in the Western Hemisphere who are tired of being trifled with. The Democrats don't know how to deal with that. 13 U.S. service members have died since Operation Epic Fury took place, starting last month. 13. 6 of them were killed in Kuwait when Iran launched an attack on the base. A 7th died similarly in Saudi Arabia. 6 others died in that not Iranian-caused tanker crash. 13. President Trump was there on the phone with those families immediately. President Trump was there on the tarmac, grieving as those heroes' bodies were transferred. Donald Trump. He managed to call perhaps one of the most outrageous, ballsy, bold, daring, nutty, 100% made in the USA rescue operation over the weekend. The Democrats don't know what to do. They don't have leaders. They don't have people with character. They lost their morality. They sold off to the wacko wing of the party and are now ensconced in some oatmeal of alphabet soup, rainbow stew nonsense as this president is making the world safer. Promises made, promises kept. Now, let me ask you, do you not believe him when he says the American age, the golden age, is at our fingertips, is at the doorstep? We are right there. Do you doubt him? Because you ought not. Democrats are victim of their own mealy-mouthed, spineless, wishy-washy, nothing, groupthink, loserness. Okay? It's very easy to stand up when you've got the media running interference for you. It's easy to stand up and point fingers when you've got the establishment deep state usually behind you. It's easy to resist when you've got a lot of paid for protesters creating problems and smoke screens down on the street. It's a whole different ballgame to stand up one individual with billions of people watching and to say, no man gets left behind. That is a leader. We haven't had one for about, 4 years? It is so nice to have him back. So here's where we stand today, ladies and gentlemen, as the president is set to have a press conference with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. It's going to begin here in about 45 minutes, allegedly in the White House press briefing room. We're going to bring you that press conference live. I believe we're going to get news at that press conference that's going to tell us one of two things. Iran has agreed to our stipulations, our 15-point plan, and we will withhold our offensive to knock out every part of their electrical grid, their water treatment plants, their oil transportation processes, every bridge, every freaking piece of machinery. We will wait for that blessed ink to hit the paper. Or, watch out. Watch out. That is what I love about being an American today. Being on the right side allows you to see all of the other people and why they aren't with us. On today's program, we're going to talk also about the UFO stuff going on. You can't get away from it. People out there are saying, I just think this is a smokescreen. That's really not going on. Oh, it's been going on. And it's been going on for, I'm going to say, more than 100 years. This isn't just something that people started seeing in the 1950s or 60s, dating all the way back to the earliest 1900s, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about what the government knows and what the American people demand to be filled in on. All of that and so much more coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right.
Can you move the camera back a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Is it too
You
close?
got a real close up.
Yeah, I didn't. Let me see. Jackass. All right, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my view of everything is a little off. That might do it okay for us. Let me tell you guys right now what's going on. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com, they're having a sale on Harmony, and Harmony is their organic bug killer. This is what it looks like. Organic insect control. There you see it right here. This is a pretty special product. And right now, is it what, 3 days this week, Brock? Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, 20% off? Yes. Disinfectwithsniper.com. No promo code needed, no backslash, no bells and whistles. That's the only site that he uses, and it's for us. So you're going to get that 20% off. Let me tell you, nothing is safer. Nothing works better. It kills aphids, green fruit worms, brown and spotted mites, soil lice, russets, and hundreds of other garden pests. I don't even know what russets are. It scares me. This is 100% organic, non-toxic, safe for plants, people, and pets. That's the beauty. That is the magic. That is why we love disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com, 20% off. Get some Sniper while you're at it. I cleaned our front-loading washing machine, and you know how the seals get all mildewy and yucky. I finally had to get in there. It was vile. And I'm in there scrubbing, and I'm like, hey, Dodo. And I went, and I got this, and I sprayed the Sniper all over it. Oh, my gosh. The odor is gone. And then I was able to scrub and get all the junk out of there. Thank you.
Are you sitting in the same spot you typically sit in?
Yep, it needs to come down a little bit, huh? I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at it.
This is all exceedingly distracting.
know.
I just can't begin to tell you. I'm trying to keep it together. Is it working? Do I have you guys fooled? A day to be wearing a tank top, I think, because I'm sweating over this stuff. Anyway, thank you for your rumbles. Let's go. That's the thumbs up button. Let's hit 1 point. Let's see if we can hit 1.7 by the bottom. 330 to go. I really appreciate your help. That sends us over the edge, and I appreciate that. President Trump now, after what we went through with COVID, with the tyrannical mandates, with the blue state leadership of absolute insanity, of edicts and emergency orders, and little people getting big dictatorial huevos. I think we're all almost numb. We're so used to ineffective, inefficient, outrageously expensive, without the benefits government, that when somebody comes forward and says what President Trump says, the things that he tweets, the words that he uses, the direct way in which he communicates with us, he directly talks to you every single day, whether you choose to follow his accounts on social media or not. He absolutely carves out the media, and then he calls people. Can you imagine this? You couldn't even see Joe Biden, but what? 20 times a year, he was in his chamber, trotting off to the beach on vacation, doing whatever the hell he was doing. He not only didn't talk to the media, he sure as hell wasn't phoning them on Easter freaking Sunday, saying, hey, Trey Yingst, Fox News, I want to tell you what's going on, lest there be any confusion. Says some of the things off the record. Most of it on, and you're going to hear all about it coming up. Let's see what the president said about this miraculous rescue of these 2 U.S. service members missing after Iran shot down a fighter jet, and the incredible special forces operation to get these guys back. President Trump Sunday made expletive-laden new threats to escalate strikes on Iran and its infrastructure if it doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz by his deadline, after American forces rescued an aviator whose Iran-downed plane fell behind enemy lines. An intense search followed Friday's crash of the F-15E Strike Eagle, while Iran was promising a bounty reward for the enemy pilot, offering what, 60 grand or whatever, triggering, I'm sure, very interested parties. President Trump said that the service member was seriously wounded and really brave, rescued from, quote, deep inside the mountains in an operation involving dozens of armed aircraft. He said a second crew member was rescued in broad daylight within hours of the crash. A senior U.S. administration official said that prior to locating the pilot, the CIA had spread word inside Iran that U.S. forces had found him and were moving him for exfiltration, getting him out of the country, confusing Iranian officials. They're like, what? So they're scrambling for this operation, right? And while that's going on, of course, they're rescuing this gentleman who was armed with what? A beacon to alert the CIA and a pistol. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. A defiant Iran struck infrastructure targets in neighboring Gulf Arab countries, challenged the U.S. account of the rescue, and threatened to restrict another heavily used waterway in the region. In a social media post, Trump vowed to hit Iran's power plants and bridges. Let me just read it to you. I'll bring it up here. It's pretty amazing. He was talking about the rescue here before he said, you know what, if Iran doesn't sign on the dotted line, we will tomorrow. It'll be bridges and, power plant day. This is what the President Trump said. We've rescued the seriously wounded, really brave F-15 crew member officer from deep inside the mountains of Iran. The Iranian military was looking hard in big numbers and getting close. He is a highly respected colonel. This type of raid is seldom attempted because of the danger to man and equipment. It just doesn't happen. The second raid came after the first one, where we rescued the pilot in broad daylight. Also unusual, spending 7 hours over Iran. An amazing show of bravery and talent by all. I'll be having a news conference with the military at the Oval Office. They changed it since he wrote this. Monday, 1 p.m. God bless our great military warriors. Think about the difference between this president calling this extraordinarily dangerous and politically, imperiled decision to not just go in after the guy they couldn't find, but to go in heavy, to go in with hundreds of people, all for one guy. No man, no American ever left behind. And then you juxtapose that with the Abbey Gate tragedy. 13 U.S. service members killed, 170 others also blown to freaking smithereens, 180 others wounded. Their lives forever changed. And Joe Biden, when he was president, made the families of those 13 U.S. service members wait so he could catch a nap on the tarmac and then watch his watch as their coffins were transferred. Very different commander, very different agendas, very different political parties, very different messages to America, a very different view of hope and prosperity, a very different leader. And you have a Democrat Party that has no idea how to respond, because simply resisting, when what you're resisting is American exceptionalism, makes you just a two-bit traitor in my mind. God is good, said the gentleman they found. They went in with special forces to rescue. First words out of his mouth on Easter Sunday: God is good. Amen. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, President Trump threatens to rain hell down upon Iran if his deadline tomorrow, which would be on 4/7, isn't met. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Well, first half hour's in the bag. I'm looking at, I have a clock right here because this clock isn't synced up. So my inclination is always to look up at the clock and I'm like, and it ain't working. Hi, everybody. How are you? I mean, can we just talk about the complete jackassery of Joe and Jill Biden, Dr. Jill, excuse me, when they were going to do colored rocks for the Easter egg roll? Can you think of more of a kick in the balls for a kid? Come on, kids. Let's go to the White House and see the president and roll rocks. What? Like, you can't make it up. You can't. You can, but you can't. You know what came over the weekend? My Dr. Gundry's The Healthy Fat. It's called MCT Wellness. This is such a great helper for anyone who has significant weight to lose. And I think Dr. Gundry even said so. He's like, look, this is not for the casual dieter. This is for someone with 10, 20, 40, 80 pounds to lose. This right here is a delicious scoop of powder that you put in water that you're already drinking. This is the watermelon lemonade. Fantastic. And what it does is it absolutely crushes your appetite for about 5 hours. I'm going to say if it does nothing other than that, that allows you to skip a meal. That allows you to skip or get through that dark point in your day where you're like, my God, I need Pringles or chocolate, right? Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Look, if you haven't gotten the product yet, you have to sit through a video before you get to the page where you can order it. Please watch the video. It's so informative and it's going to answer so many questions about your own weight loss journey. You're going to be like, thank you, Dr. Gundry. And no wonder he lost 70 pounds drinking this, and says he's seen thousands of people do the same thing. Nice 20% off discount. Watch the video with thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. It is delish. I promise. Now I have to share it with Brock, though. How are you, Brock?
I'm trying not to
Get fussy?
no
Oh.
bother you.
Oh, it is what it is. Whatever.
It is- I know.
I need to put up like a barrier around your things. So we got this great, Michael helped us, Toolsy helped us get this great new computer, and it's a lot faster, but there's still some connection things that we have to work out. So Brock came in on Friday night. He was here until about 9 o'clock. So trying to set everything up, but it's nice to have it done. And then got to try to roll the dice and see if you can make it work. So if we get this clock fixed, that's going to be a big part of it for me. Too close?
No, that's the shot.
I understand that fact, but it was too close before.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you guys like seeing every pore on my face? Every wrinkle? Say, she's not
There's no
56.
wrinkles. We have the filter.
I do have the filter on. It's only on 50%. So it gives me room to grow, right? You can't go all out on erasing every flaw. You have to do it in piecemeal fashion. So that's what we're doing.
So the whole problem is that we can only test this stuff while we're live.
Yeah.
So that's why you guys get the full Monty of seeing us fiddle with things.
Too much headroom. Can you click out of it real fast? Just,
Huh?
Would you get out of it just so I can adjust the... It's the same thing it was.
No.
Excellent work, Wendy. Good job.
No. That's the shot. You can see the
Okay.
full mic. That's the shot. It's all fixed now.
Who else is having a little bit of a temperature control problem?
I was this morning. I was heated.
Hey, Kurt writes, hey, Wendy, thank you. I've been listening for a few months. I truly enjoy your program. I've become a Juvenon customer and believe Blood Flow 7 has changed my life. Look, he's like, more energy and I just feel better. When I say it's a game changer, I'm not throwing crap at you. I'm not like, please buy this product because I'm going to get a percentage of that. That's not how it works. I legit say this will change your life. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. If you're a man, consider trying the Alpha Gold male formula. Male, testosterone focused. There's no reason you should be dragging along men the way you do. And by the way, ladies, this is good for men and women. This will change how you do everything, how you do your job, how you manage your family, how you have strength and like stamina to do all of the things that you do. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy, 30% off everything in the store. I'm telling you, you can take that for like less than $1 a day. That's crazy. That's a month. Let's see how you're doing. Did I browbeat you? Almost. We need 60 people to get to 1.7. Come on. Wendy Bell radio program, wendybellradio.com if you like to watch and listen at the same time. So Jennifer Griffin, a Never Trumper reporter over at Fox, was saying she was covering the rescue of this U.S. military member. She's like, it was a very complex operation to retrieve the downed service member, blah, blah, blah. All of the various things that had to go into place here to get these U.S. service members home, and this president's resolve to call the shot on a dime, get them home, do what needs to be done, do it now. Not, well, what are the implications? It's like, no. There's somebody who's been left behind. No, not on my watch. It's stunningly refreshing. It's almost though you're not used to it. And so you're like, yeah, that's probably not what happened. And then you're like, wait, it did? Yeah, it did. So President Trump is threatening to rain hell on Iran if tomorrow's deadline to make a deal is not met. Let's see. I'm going to pull up this truth for you, read it for you. Tuesday, this is what he tweeted yesterday. Happy Easter. He writes, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped into one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. It's like he said that to trigger people who don't understand what that means. Well, why is he talking in other people's? So why is he talking in Middle Eastern tongues? What is he worshiping their God? What is he all about? And it's like, no. If you read the origins and what that means, right? Thanks be to God. Praise God. This is going to be a victory. And the president writing the F word? Yeah. That's called I'm done. And if Iran, whomever there is still alive, because I know they took out 2 more guys, like if the Iranian quote unquote structure, the regime structure, if they still think meeting in person is a good idea, maybe they ought not, because every time they do, they get blown up. The number of dead there, staggering. So Trey Yingst gets a phone call from the president yesterday. He's in Israel. Trump is at the White House working, obviously, on Easter Sunday. And he calls Trey, Fox News correspondent, and really a very talented international reporter. And he tells him 15 minutes, walks him through what's going on, walks him through the rescue of these pilots, walks them through. In audio soundbite number 1, and I think you just have to hear this. It's very interesting. Trey Ying says, look, I pretty much got off the phone with them, and he told me Tuesday is the day. It's do or die. Iran's either going to come to the table or they're not. And if they're not, they're going to be sorry. Here's Trey Yingst.
I just spoke with President Trump for 15 minutes. He gave me some new details on the negotiations behind the scenes with the Iranians and what's going to happen if Iran does not make a good faith deal. The president tells me if they don't make a deal and fast, I'm considering blowing everything up and taking over the oil. The president went on to say you're going to see bridges and power plants dropping all over their country. Now, I asked him about the possibility of an agreement with the Iranians. He says those who are negotiating on behalf of Iran have been granted amnesty at this time so they can continue the talks. And the president tells me he thinks he'll be able to get a deal by tomorrow. He says, I think there's a good chance tomorrow. They're negotiating now. All of this following the president's post on True Social, where he talked about these negotiations with the Iranians. We'll pull this up. He says, quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one. In Iran, there will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. The president posting there on True Social about this ongoing operation and his new red line for the Iranian regime.
All right, so what do you mean, Trey, granted amnesty? He said the president has granted amnesty to at some level, structure of Iranian leadership. And the news gal was like, what do you mean? Or he was asking the president, what do you mean granted amnesty? And the president's like, I told him we wouldn't kill them. Right? I mean, that's what it is. I won't kill you if you come to the table in good faith and you negotiate. Now, if you come to the table and it's not in good faith to negotiate, I'll probably kill you. But if you come and you do what we say we need to do, then I promise you, you won't die today. That is the assurances of the president. This is how matter of fact he is. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards. Yeah. Enough fiddling with the world. Enough. We've all had enough of you. You cancerous terrorist jerks, right? Tomorrow's the day. Audio soundbite number 2, Trey Yingst continues. He's like, look, oh, wait a minute. Let me read this real fast. I already did. Okay. Oh, here we go. Now, I want to read you this, okay? Do you remember when President Trump tweeted out in January, he said, Iranian patriots, keep protesting. Take over your institutions. Save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on the way. MEGA, make Iran great again. President Donald J. Trump. Well, that bleeds in nicely to Trey Young's audio soundbite number 2.
Now, the president also provided new details on what happened earlier this year as the Iranian regime took to the streets and slaughtered what the president tells me is 45,000 civilians in their own country. After that took place, President Trump told me the United States sent guns to the Iranian protesters. He tells me we sent them a lot of guns. We sent them through the Kurds, and the president says he thinks the Kurds kept them. He went on to say we sent guns to the protesters, a lot of them. And so a number of headlines here from my conversation with President Trump. All of this taking place more than a month into Operation Epic Fury and in the aftermath of that successful U.S. operation overnight to rescue that stranded U.S. service member inside Iranian territory. The president himself ordering that operation after the CIA came on Saturday morning and confirmed that they located where this crew member of an F-15 that was shot down on Friday was located. Again, the president making that decision to send in hundreds of U.S. special forces deep into Iranian territory and successfully retrieving that U.S. service member.
So that's not just saying no man left behind. That's proving it. It's one thing to talk, to flap your gums, to say you are this or you are that. It's an entirely different thing to actually show up and have the stones to do it. This president has shown repeatedly. Stones. Again, Democrats are left baffled. People who vote Democrat don't know what to do with this. They're not used to anything decisive. They're not used to results. They're not used to such constant updating from the president. They're used to an auto pen. Audio soundbite. Here we go. This is General Jack Keane. And this guy is a retired four-star Army general, former Army vice chief of staff. And he's like, look, with war, it's not even so much a battle of machinery. It's who's got the personal will to win.
Remember, so our audience understands, war is fundamentally a battle of will here. And national leaders have to fundamentally have the resolve and perseverance to get through all the obstacles and impediments and political opposition and the rest of it, to see clearly what needs to be done and what does victory look like. This president has that. He's had it from day one. And he is steadfast in pursuing those objectives. So I've got confidence that he's going to make the right calls here and get us to the goal line. And that's the path we're on.
What's the other side's position going to be? Resist? Resist going in and saving Americans? Resist going in and protecting Iranian citizens from being gunned down in the streets simply for coming outside and protesting their government? Because we've watched in true mystifying fashion, Democrats resist everything common sense. It's crazy, but it's true. So here's Trey Yingst. Finally, he says, look, you have a president in the Oval Office who is about progress. The Iranians are about slow walking, stonewalling, kicking the can down the road, dragging this out as long as possible. And that strategy is about to cost them big time.
But I think the president also talked about how the Iranians are negotiating. And this was the thing that I drew from the conversation, is that the Iranians like to drag their feet in these negotiations, and the president basically through that strike on a key bridge in Iran last week was trying to send a message to them that they're either going to make a deal or they're going to face consequences for not making a deal. And so, again, the president told me that the Iranians were trying to push off the negotiations an additional week and a number of days ahead. And the president said, no, next hour you're going to negotiate. Because, again, this is a president who is directly involved and speaking on a daily basis with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, with his son-in-law Jared Kushner, because they understand the framework of this deal. They also understand how the Iranians negotiate. And they're not negotiating in good faith, despite the fact that the United States is giving them this off-ramp.
Right.
We have seen this in the past. We saw this during previous administrations. And the difference with this administration is that the president is not willing to let them drag it out. He's saying, if you're going to make a deal, you need to make it, as he told me, tomorrow, not next week.
And he was talking about Trump blowing up this called the B1 bridge. It was a pretty important piece of the Iranian military machine. It was heavily reinforced, and the engineering served this covert strategic purpose. So apparently intelligence indicates that the bridge was constructed with these deep poured pylons and abnormal load-bearing capacity, specifically designed to facilitate the rapid, uninterrupted transport of heavy military hardware, including ballistic missile components and drone manufacturing materials between underground defense complexes in the region. And it was an expensive bridge, $400 million, gone. See you later. That was last week. The president says, what now do you want to see? You know, it's almost that weird moment where you can't tell if someone is crazy or if they're just that stable and serious that it seems crazy. Nothing crazy here. You've killed our people. You've attacked us on our shores and in other places. And for that, you will pay the ultimate price. Now, if you want to negotiate, that's great, but it's only for a few more hours. So good luck with that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we're watching the clock. 13 minutes until the president is supposed to speak. How America's remarkable and lethal military found a needle in a haystack. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You know, this healthrevolution.net thing I've been talking to you about, info.healthrevolution.net. I want you to jot down this information. Even if you don't think you're going to need it right now, somebody you know, maybe even you, is going to be in a situation where they're like, look, my health insurance is so expensive. I get stuck with all this crap I don't need. I've got a son who's 26, doesn't need maternity coverage. Can we cherry pick? Can we choose an a la carte health plan to give us the protection we need without copays, without ridiculous deductibles that allows us to keep the doctors that we like? Yeah, you can. And you're going to save 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60% off of what you're currently paying. So if that's not significant to you, okay, then don't write it down, but I totally would. Info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187. And what's nice about this is you can call and get the process started right away, and that's great. Or you can fill out an intake form and have somebody ring you back. 800-868-6187. A new approach to healthcare. We know this guy. We trust this guy. This guy wants to get you the right health insurance. If you're on COBRA, if you're self-employed, if you are not insured, or if you're in some Affordable Care Act plan. Under the age of 65, please. That is exactly what this is catered to. Under the age of 65. All you old folks don't matter. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. I'm on your heels. What's going on, Brock?
Just so you know, the way I'm going to do this is play the video off of the computer, but the sound will be coming to the radio sound. So like when you hear, I'm going to just I'm going to turn your mic down and mute your mic.
Okay.
So you will not be able to communicate with me.
Okay.
And that way we're going to blow out our commercials. And if they want to take it, they can take it. And if not, the radio side, and you guys will get to see it all.
Him telling you that that we're going to blow out the commercial, it has nothing to do with you guys.
No, I'm telling you for your sake.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll work it out. I mean, I've got the best engineer I can.
You're the only one.
It's not my zone, babe. So
I was walking around the house this morning
trying to think about it,
talking out loud. And Kate's like, "What are you doing?" Trying to figure out. And Kate's worked in radio, so I was explaining it to her. She's like, "That sounds like it should work." I'm like, "Yeah,
I didn't.
Everything's
say that.
theoretical until
I was like, okay.
All hits the fan.
I'm like, "What do you need from me?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "Okay, good." Proceed. You do you.
I'm sure. Well, the nice thing is if I mess it up, I'll learn from the mistake. So we'll see. What?
No, it'll be fantastic.
You just say this. I have faith in you, like I do when you say, I don't have a monologue.
Yeah, right?
So I say, I have faith. You'll make it happen. Toolsy's here. I'm sure he showed up just to see if the computer worked.
Hi, Michael. Good morning, honey. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. What a joy to be with you all. So we are paying attention, as you well know, to this press conference. I think it's going to be important. I think President Trump is going to have something important to say. And you're going to hear from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. I see Fox here on the corner getting ready for it. But I want to talk a little bit more about, think about President Trump. He has been an unwavering supporter of the military. Unwavering. In fact, the next budget, he wants to increase defense spending to some ungodly number, but also counters it by saying, you know what, let's save money with our tariffs, with our manufacturing, bringing all these companies back to America. Let's offset that. You guys saw the job numbers, right? Like job manufacturing is back. America is back. Generation Z, don't throw in the towel. Don't think that everything happens in a vacuum overnight. It's coming. It's coming, this president says. I believe him. So how America's remarkable and lethal military found it literally was this guy that he ejected. And the skies over Iran. He was a literal needle in a haystack. An absolute mission for the history books. U.S. Special Ops forces executing a daring rescue mission deep inside Iran to save that Air Force colonel from the F-15 Strike Eagle that was downed over western Iranian mountains. He had ejected. He survived nearly 2 days, evading capture with only a pistol and his beacon, which alerted the CIA to his whereabouts, while Iranian forces hunted him with a $60,000 bounty. This was Saturday night into Easter Sunday, mobilized hundreds of commandos, CIA deception tactics faking his prior recovery, warplanes dropping bombs on Iranian convoys, helicopters, and real-time intelligence from cyber and space assets. A firefight erupted as teams reached his rocky crevice hideout. 2 U.S. transport planes were destroyed to avoid capture. And Fox's Griff Jenkins walks you through, which truly is one for history.
The training, planning and execution of this combat search and rescue, or CSAR, is nothing short of extraordinary. Let's go back to where it all begins on Thursday, right? You have the lucky shot by Iranians, and they hit our F-15E Strike Eagle, and the plane goes down. The pilot, they both eject. The pilot, of course, is one who is quickly recovered. But that weapons systems officer, the guy in the back, is injured, and he leans into his SEER training. His survival and evasion training kicks in. Even injured, he's able to get as far away from the downed aircraft as he can, gets into a mountainous area, climbs some 7,000 feet, and hides in a mountain crevice, and he activates his beacon, right? That beacon, as he's hiding in that mountain crevice, is what the CIA initially begins to track and try and find his exact location, which has been described as finding a needle in a haystack. The CIA also at the same time launches a deception campaign, leading the Iranians to believe that he was being rescued already and being taken out on an exfil, extracting him on the ground to a maritime rescue. That confuses them. Iranians start chasing that. Meanwhile, the U.S. puts in special operators, hundreds of them, in a little makeshift forward arming and refueling point south of Isfahan. Now, we'll go back to the next one. Iran, by the way, is putting out on state media a $60,000 reward for any civilian to capture him and hold him. But the special ops involved, you have 2 helicopters that get hit, aircraft ultimately had to be destroyed. Remember, there's 2 parts to a rescue: getting in, finding the individual, and getting out. And often getting out is the hardest part. Meanwhile, we have MQ-9 Reaper drones and tactical air support used to protect the area, because while you have this forward refueling point set up to get him out, the Iranians are starting to attack that. So all while they're searching for the airmen, they're trying to strike from the air. The Iranians are trying to get in them. And of course, President Trump telling us that the colonel was injured, but he's going to be fine. This was by far the most complex search and rescue mission that has ever occurred in U.S. history. At Annapolis, at the Naval Academy, at West Point, they will be studying this for years. And here's the real remarkable part of it, is that in all of it, even as they came under fire for that airstrip they'd set up, and it was a tough fight, I'm told from my sources, they got out without a single U.S. casualty. And when you look at the risk that President Trump took in ordering such a large mission, Secretary Hegseth, President Trump, if this would have gone south, it would have been really bad for them. But yet we've seen in the first year, not only this rescue, but we saw the Maduro raid. Back last summer, we had Midnight Hammer. This has been a military that is executed flawlessly, a far cry from the previous administration in that Afghanistan withdrawal, which was disastrous.
Think about it. We lost 2,500 U.S. service members in Afghanistan, 13 of them on that day at Abbey Gate. How long were we in Afghanistan? How long were we toiling in Iraq? President Trump, in, out, destruction, total obliteration, 13 lives. 13, yes, too many, but 13. When we come back, hopefully bringing you live press conference from the president and Secretary of War. If not, Secretary of State Marco Rubio rounding up people who have well past stayed their visa or green card. Get out. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. I love this. The gentleman who had written me to thank me for Juvenon for Blood Flow 7, say he's changed his life, right? He goes on. He says, "Hey, Wendy, I've been listening for a few months. Truly enjoy your program. I've become a Juvenon customer. I believe Blood Flow 7 has changed my life." Right? More energy and just feel better. I then became a Healthy Cell customer, currently using 4 of their products, 4 of them. Now, that is what we call an active P1 listener, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman named Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that. Hey, look, Healthy Cell is something that's unique. There are a million different companies out there that give you products that say they're supplements for this or that, help you sleep, help you with your vitamin deficiency, help you do this, help you do that. None of them, except Healthy Cell, has changed the way in which you get the supplement into your system. So, because they rock, this is what they did. Healthy Cell realized that if they put their supplements in these little gel packs where you just peel off the top, slurp it in your mouth, the flavors are delicious, the formulations are reasonable and necessary. How about lowering your blood pressure? How about lowering your blood sugar? How about lowering your stress and anxiety? How about getting your cholesterol in check? How about getting a protective force field around you for your immune system? How about protecting your hair, skin, and nails? How about your vision? All of this stuff is in a Healthy Cell formulation. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. I'm a huge fan of this company. And Kurt, thank you for trusting me to the degree that you have. That is inspiring. I did a little REM sleep last night. Thank you, God. Thank you. I'll tell you what, if you need help falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up and feeling like you're not a zombie, REM sleep is one of the Healthy Cell formulations that matters. Here come all the reporters. Oh, it's so interesting to watch all of them. It's a long time since I was a reporter, and it's funny to watch them all get ready. They're all in a row in the White House press briefing room waiting to take their hits before the president walks in. Oh, I don't miss it. Thank God. Thank God you guys rescued me from that. All right, let's see where we are. I think you guys have been doing really, really well, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you. 1.93. That's terrific. Thank you. So you get a vote every single day, and the vote is a button right underneath the video box. And you can hit a thumbs up or a thumb down. Hey, 9 thumbs downs. Okay. I'm glad you're here.
Hey, can you turn that TV off?
Can I turn it off?
Yeah.
I've got some weird hair going on today, guys.
I'm going to need you to keep that off.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think of all press conferences that we should probably consider taking live, this is one of them. Because tomorrow's the day. It's either going to end for Iran or they're going to come to their senses and figure it out. One way or another, tomorrow is going to be the day. So this is it. This is a big moment for this president. This is a big moment for the Secretary of War. And, you have to love their decisiveness. You have to love that Hegseth carved out 12 more generals over the weekend. See you later. You're not tracking on our plane. We're not renewing your contract. How about that? Toodaloo. Well, we'll see what happens. Since I can't see now.
You'll be able to see it on your computer, like through StreamYard. You'll be able to see it and hear it.
No, like I don't know when they're coming up.
I will let you know. I can only have so many streams.
Oh, is that why we had to turn off the TV?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. 245 comments. This is fantastic. Thanks, you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Rob V, good morning and welcome to Wendy Bell Radio. Wendy helps to educate us with facts and common sense reasoning. Thank goodness. Thank you, Rob.
Try something.
Get you a check here soon. What's up, 1955, mother of 9? Holy schmiza. If that's true, hats off to you, sister. Southern Kansas. All right.
You want that?
You mean just waiting?
Yeah.
Like,
I'll go. How about I do this?
That doesn't mean anything to me. I need to see it. Like I'm not going to have you gauge when he's going to start talking because it's impossible for me, right? So if you put him up on the screen or what looks like it's going to be imminent, then I can toss to it. So
Okay.
I'd rather if you just pop it up, I'll know and I'll look at it and then I'll just be fabulous in how I toss to it.
Okay.
I hope so. I love all your comments. You guys are great. Hi, Stag. What's up, Sherry? Hi, Jerry. 52766. RW. Radical. Hi, baby. Hi, Coast to Coast.
It's Trump, so I'm assuming 15 minutes late.
Hi, Bowling Mom. Well, we'll figure it out. I've got some flex here, so we'll make it work one way or another. I don't think he's going to want this to be particularly late. I don't think this is going to be one that he wants not to be buttoned up. Don't you guys love being able to see the ridiculosity behind the scenes? When I'm like, okay. Brock was going to do one of these for me. And I'm like, I don't.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hey, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. I've got Brock across the glass from me, keeping an eye on the president as he's about to address the country, the world, if you will, alongside Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. So when that comes in, we'll get to it right away. In the interim, I love this idea that we're kicking out people from this country who demean us, who mock our president, who mock what we believe in, trample our values, and then live it up like this lap of luxury as though there is no accountability, because there's usually never any accountability. Did you know that the State Department under Marco Rubio is in the process of basically rounding up Osama bin Laden's extraneous family members who for some reason have been allowed to live here in the United States? There's like 20 of them. Why would we allow a terrorist mastermind's kin to be anywhere near our soil, let alone living it up in high-rise penthouses and taking selfies at birthday, dinners and living it in luxury? Well, yeah, that's about to stop. So you remember the Iranian terror mastermind, Qasem Soleimani? This is the guy that Trump ordered killed during his first term. Well, Marco Rubio has given a few people in his family the boot, and it's well past time. I feel the same way about these people as I do Chinese people who come here to spy on behalf of the Communist Party and then basically whittle their way into our education systems, our higher education, and steal sensitive secrets, right? Our own individual systems they steal. Why do we allow this? Marco Rubio saying, yeah, that green card, that is a gift. It is a privilege. It is an honor to be here on a temporary basis. Privilege revoked. Department of Homeland Security has arrested the niece and the grandniece of the notorious Iranian general, the pair living designer lifestyles in Los Angeles. All right. Iranian terror. Oh, here we go. The president of the United States, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a great honor to be with you, and happy Easter. We had a great Easter. This is one of our better Easters, I think, in a lot of different ways. I can say militarily, it's been one of the best. So, good afternoon. We have quite a bit to discuss. We'll go into pretty good detail. And we have the people that are most involved. We'll give you exactitude. And we're here today to celebrate the success of one of the largest, most complex, most harrowing combat searches. I guess you would call it a search and rescue mission ever attempted by the military. Generally, when planes are knocked down in war, especially when you're fighting a strong group, an evil group, you can't really do this because you send in 200 men to pick up one, and it's something that's usually not attempted as much as you want to attempt. And bad things happen to that one or two. And in this case, we did two, and might not have been attempted before, but we did. And we had great talent. We got a little luck too, I would say. And we were helped by a lot of people, a lot of great people. And it was an honor to be involved with it. It's very historic. This is a rescue that's very historic. It'll go down in the books. Late Thursday night, an American F-15 fighter jet went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well, well at a level that nobody's ever seen before. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night. Both members of the crew ejected from the aircraft and landed alive on Iranian soil. I immediately was asked to make a decision. I ordered the U.S. Armed Forces to do whatever was necessary to bring our brave warriors back home. A risky decision, because we could have ended up with 100 dead as opposed to one or two. It's a hard decision to make. But in the United States military, we leave no American behind. We don't do it. Within hours, our armed forces deployed 21 military aircraft into hostile airspace, many flying at very low altitude, being shot by bullets. You bring rifles into play when you're going that low, but there are also certain advantages. And in broad daylight over Iran for 7 hours, at times facing very, very heavy enemy fire. We have a helicopter that's got a lot of bullets in it. It's amazing. We just realized how good those weapons are. Our machines are. Nobody has the equipment that we have, and nobody has the military that we have. Not even close. We're the most powerful military anywhere in the world by far. The flight crews and warfighters aboard those aircraft took extraordinary risks to rescue their fellow service members. This first wave of search and rescue forces successfully located the pilot of the F-15, and he was extracted from enemy territory by an HH-60 Jolly Green 2 helicopter. Fabulous machine as our warriors faced gunfire at very close range. It's amazing that when you look at the machinery, what happened, that nobody was even injured. Meanwhile, the second crew member, a weapons system officer, highly respected colonel, had landed a significant distance away from the pilot. When you're going at those speeds, even if you go out 2 or 3 seconds later, it's miles and miles away because you're going fast. He was injured quite badly and stranded in an area teeming with terrorists from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps rough group, as well as besieged militia and local authorities. Many, on top of everything else, they told the communities actually within inside of Iran, the people of Iran, they were given a tremendous incentive to find this pilot. Despite the peril, the officer followed his training and climbed into the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to evade capture. They want to always go as far away from the site of the shoot down. You want to go as far away because they all head right to that site. You want to be as far away as you can. And he was injured, and he was an amazing, amazing thing. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location. They have a very sophisticated beeper type apparatus that is on them at all times. And when they go out on these missions, they make sure they have lots of battery space and they're in good shape. And this one worked really well, amazingly, saved his life. We immediately mobilized a massive operation to retrieve him from the mountain holdout. And he kept going higher and higher. The mountain kept getting rougher and rougher and really very, very hard to find. The second rescue mission involved 155 aircraft, including 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircraft, and more. We were bringing them all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge. We wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there. Thousands of people were looking. So we wanted them to look in different areas. So we were scattered all over like we were right on top of them. We had 7 different locations where they thought, and they were very confused. They said, well, wait a minute, they've got groups here, they've got groups there. It's an amazing thing. I was listening to these great people, these great generals. General Raisin Kane was amazing, and Pete Hegseth was amazing. But I listened to the whole thing. It was pretty amazing. So they had all these different sites where everybody thought he was located. We think we have him over there because they have 9 planes circling a little area that's 25 miles down the coast. So in a breathtaking show of skill and precision, lethality and force, America's military descended on the area, the real area, engaged the enemy, rescued the stranded officer, destroyed all threats, and exited Iranian territory while taking no casualties of any kind. The heroic F-15 weapon system officer had evaded capture on the ground in Iran for almost 48 hours. That's a long time when you're in tough shape and when you're bleeding. It's a long time. When we left, as you probably know, we had 2 large planes, pretty old planes that carried a lot. We needed a lot more equipment going in than coming out, obviously, because going in, we needed to be able to scale mountains. And we had a lot of equipment. But the sand was sandy, wet sand. So we thought there may be a problem taking off because of the weight of the plane. And then we also had all the men jumping back onto the planes. And they got pretty well bogged down. And we had a contingency plan, which was unbelievable, where lighter, faster aircraft came in and they took them out. We blew up the old planes. And we blew them up to smithereens because we had equipment on the planes that, frankly, we'd like to take, but I don't think it was worthwhile spending another 4 hours there taking it off. So we didn't want anybody to have, we have the best equipment anywhere in the world. We didn't want anybody examining our anti-aircraft and other equipment. So these were large planes that were old and pretty old, and we blew them up. And we had faster, lighter planes come in, and they were able to land on the sand. We needed the bigger planes because we had so much equipment that we needed. We took 3 helicopters over there, which were very strongly used and couldn't have lived without them. They did, and they performed unbelievably well. And if you'd see it, you wouldn't believe it. They came off the plane, and these guys had them. The rotors were off. They rebuilt these helicopters in less than 10 minutes. And that was one of the more amazing things. These are helicopters, small, unbelievably powerful, but small, very small, so it can get into certain areas. And they got them off the plane, and they rebuilt all three of them, in a matter of less than 10 minutes. It's pretty amazing what the genius of these people. Who would think that? You'd think it would take 5 days to build them. And in some companies, it would take 5 days, and they wouldn't do it well. But they served us well. As Commander-in-Chief, I never forget the extraordinary risk taken by the warriors that we send into battle and the genius. I mean, think of it, having a contingency of 3 planes waiting because we think the sand is so bad that we probably won't be able to take off. And the planes really got bogged. This was not much of a runway. This was a farm, not a runway. It's a farm, but it did the trick. But to have a contingency as opposed to having to wait 2 days, can you imagine right in the middle? This was central. This was right, you would call it central casting if you were doing a movie for location. And probably the toughest area of Iran where we'd be sitting there. So these planes came in, those pilots came in so fast and so quick and got out of there. Everybody got aboard and just got 15-minute intervals. One load out, one load out. One load out. It happened, and we were watching, and we said, "That's amazing." It's in many ways, I was almost more impressed by the contingency that we had than the fact that if we would have had a runway or decent soil. But it was an amazing thing. But we thank God for every single one of them and the talent, the genius. It's not even talent; it's genius. It's the whole ball game. Every one of them. If you look at what we did with Maduro, we went into a military compound, a massive, with thousands and thousands of soldiers, and within a matter of minutes, and he lived behind iron doors. There were steel doors, broke them down so quickly, and within almost minutes, he was in the back of these planes. It was a similar group. Incredible. We have incredibly talented people. And if the time comes, we move heaven and earth to bring them home safely. We're going to bring our people home safely. I want to thank every member of the U.S. Armed Forces involved in these historic operations. They really were historic. It's just not something that's done. And you'd understand it. Not that they don't want to do it, but when you're going into areas, when you look at these helicopters, when you look at the amount of bullets and everything else that they took, when you go into these areas, you don't come out like we came out. God was watching us. I tell you, well, it was the Easter, we were in an Easter territory, I guess, but God was watching us. Amazing. Because when you look at the machinery, they took damage. It tells you, first thing I said is, these are unbelievable machines, how they flew back and not even much of a problem. But these 2 extraordinary rescues, because it was 2, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour, and then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker, and talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do. Because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award. So when you add that to it, but we have to find that leaker because that's a sick person. Probably didn't realize the extent of how bad it was. I can't imagine that the person did, but we're going to find out. It's national security, and the person that did the story will go to jail if he doesn't say, and that doesn't last long. And I think everybody would understand that they put this mission at great risk. They put that man at great risk, and they put the hundreds of people that went in looking for him, because everyone now knows that we're going in. Over the past 37 days, America's armed forces have carried out more than 10,000 combat flights over Iran, unheard of, striking more than 13,000 targets. The F-15 we lost last week was the first manned aircraft downed by the enemy in this entire operation, with thousands and thousands of flights. They got lucky. It was a lucky hit. You know, eventually you get lucky. But we got lucky too, because we got both of them back. But it's a record that is unparalleled in the history of military air operations. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's such an honor to be involved with it. We were up late at night, and then we were waiting for those contingent planes to come in, and we said, come on, let's go, get in, because they're waiting out on this farm without a runway, with wet, crummy soil, sand, mostly sand, wet sand, and it eats planes alive. And we're waiting, and we're saying, I hope that one can land and take off. And they came in like magic, boom, 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 one after another. It was like genius. I'm so impressed by that, because we were a little concerned. We said, boy, if they don't get in and get up fast, we're sitting in them. And that's called Iran Prime, right, General? That's where the whole bet is. And here we are sitting there waiting for a plane. But they came in so fast and so hard, and these guys knew exactly what to do. Let's go, come on, get in, let's go. Blah. They came one right after another, not at the same time. They don't want to come at the same time. They had to come right after each other. They didn't have any room. There was barely any room to land. Tiny little patch of very wet earth and sand. So I'm so proud of the people that I have standing up here with me, and many others that worked. I mean, so many. Steve Witkoff's over here. He's doing fantastically. Jared Kushner. But the people that are here, the job they did is amazing. And I think I'm going to introduce the head of the CIA, and he is a man he's central casting, okay? If we cast a movie, he's going to play the head of the CIA. He's one of the few. John Ratcliffe, he did a phenomenal job that night. He did something that I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you want, you can. I'm not sure he's supposed to. I'm not going to talk about it. But the CIA was very responsible for finding this little speck. It's like they used an expression on one of the shows. A general was talking about, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, finding this pilot. And the CIA was unbelievable. And you may, if you can, you'll talk. It might be classified, in which case I'd have to put him in jail if he talks about it. And I don't want to put him in jail. He doesn't deserve that. So, John, do you want to say a few words? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a privilege to be here with you today to share what we can about this exceptional mission and to recognize the ingenuity and bravery of those who executed it, as well as the leadership and resolve of the president who ordered it. One thing that has been clear to me in this role is that the flawless military operations that the Department of War is known for are hostage to flawless intelligence. We saw that in the skies over Iran in Operation Midnight Hammer last summer. We witnessed it in Venezuela during Operation Absolute Resolve. We've seen it against the cartels in the Western Hemisphere, and we're seeing it every day in Operation Epic Fury, including this mission to rescue an aviator buried deep behind enemy lines. Because it is the unique tradition of the U.S. Armed Forces that we leave no man or woman behind, this was a no-fail mission. That was the spirit in which the president put us to work, and we were determined not to let him down or our airmen down. As an agency, the CIA possesses unique capabilities that only the president can deploy. Some of these capabilities fall under covert action authorities. And because covert means exactly that, I'm not going to be able to tell you everything that you want to know. At the president's direction, we deployed both human assets and exquisite technologies that no other intelligence service in the world possesses to a daunting challenge comparable to hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. This was also a race against the clock, as it was critical that we locate the downed aviator as quickly as possible, while at the same time keeping our enemies misdirected. For that reason, in addition to the human and technical assets deployed by the president to find our airman, CIA executed a deception campaign to confuse the Iranians who were desperately hunting for our airmen. On Saturday morning, we achieved our primary objective by finding and providing confirmation that one of America's best and bravest was alive and concealed in a mountain crevice, still invisible to the enemy, but not to the CIA. That confirmation was relayed by Secretary Hegseth to the president, and the operation quickly moved to the execution phase. Following the successful exfiltration on Saturday night, our intelligence reflects that the Iranians were embarrassed and ultimately humiliated by the success of this audacious rescue mission. When the president asked me to lead the CIA, he made it clear, get back to basics, no politics, no agendas, tackle the hardest problems, and execute the toughest missions. This president is about results. And now, that's what his CIA is about too. The professionals at the agency and at the Department of War deserve immense credit for their flawless execution during this daring mission. Their skill, creativity, and courage are unmatched on the battlefield wherever they step. But none of that matters. And all of that is wasted without a president with the political courage to put them into action. Mr. President, I've had the privilege of seeing you act with political courage in the best interest of the United States up close on a daily basis, and I'm grateful that this successful mission has given the American people a window into that as well. The Secretary and Chairman will tell you that our service members' confidence is boosted by a Commander-in-Chief who has their back the same way they have yours. And I know that the confidence of CIA's officers is boosted by the knowledge that their work is informing a president who's not afraid to make the hardest decisions when the stakes are highest. And to the American people, your confidence should be boosted by knowing that the security of the nation is in the hands of a president who's willing to take on problems that have confounded both sides of the political aisle for nearly half a century. It is an honor to serve under a leader who just proved that you can believe him when he says, no matter what, we will leave no one behind. We will come for you. Thank you.
Well, John, thank you for the collaboration of the CIA as well. Incredible and ongoing partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, and especially the brave warriors in our armed forces, over this Easter weekend, the United States military has once again proved why we possess the greatest fighting force the world has ever known. In two extraordinary combat search and rescue operations deep inside enemy territory in Iran, our warriors executed missions of breathtaking skill, courage, and precision. When our warriors are unleashed, as this president has allowed them to be, they are unstoppable. When American airmen were down behind enemy lines, our forces and our president did not hesitate. Special operators supported by elite air crews and intelligence professionals moved swiftly and decisively into treacherous mountain terrain under the constant threat of Iranian forces closing in. Ultimately, it was an impotent Iranian threat. And today, as the CIA director mentioned, Iran's military, and we know this, is embarrassed and humiliated, and they should be. Now, these are not routine operations. They were high-risk, high-stakes missions conducted in the heart of enemy territory. This was not just barely into Iran. This was deep into Iran. involving coordinated strikes to suppress threats, deception tactics to protect our teams, and full synchronization across air, ground, and special operations. The Iranians are still asking themselves right now, how did the Americans do this? One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and fighting spirit shone through. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing. God is good. Despite incoming fire and unforgiving conditions, our troops brought every American home. No American lives were lost. We leave no man behind, and that is not luck. It's the result of unmatched training, superior technology, an unbreakable warrior ethos, and sheer American grit. Our special operators, pilots, and support crews performed with near perfection under fire, and they were lethal. Just ask any Iranian soldier who dared attempt to get anywhere near that pilot before or during that mission. Death from above. Our troops turned a potential tragedy into a resounding demonstration of American resolve and capability. That's what excellence in uniform looks like. But make no mistake about it, none of this would have been possible without the courageous leadership and ironclad determination of President Donald J. Trump. From the moment our airmen went down, President Trump made it clear we will leave no one behind. The first mission, the first of two, was an audacious daylight thunder run right up the middle. It was authorized in less than 2 hours from that pilot going down when we knew where he was. And it was authorized in the middle of the night, because anybody that's worked for this man knows he's up in the middle of the night. Authorized immediately, without hesitation, audaciously. The second mission, as soon as we knew where that pilot was, and John was certainly helpful in that, also executed immediately. You know, I looked up at my screen when the final mission was complete inside our SCIF, our secure facility. And we have a running VTC, a running coordination cell. And the top of it read 45 minutes and 45 hours and 56 minutes. For 45 hours and 56 minutes, we held that call open for coordination. From the moment our pilots went down, our mission was unblinking. The call never dropped, the meeting never stopped, the planning never ceased. The president demanded rapid, decisive action. He backed our military with the full weight of his resolve, refusing to let enemy propaganda or tactical setbacks deter us. His leadership ensured that every lethal and non-lethal resource was brought to bear, that our forces had the authorities and the support they needed to succeed. When the president says he has the backs of our warfighters, he means it. And it means a great deal, and it's a big difference on the battlefield. President Trump understands that peace through strength is not a slogan. It is a doctrine that saves American lives. His unwavering commitment to rebuilding our military and restoring the warrior spirit has paid dividends in missions just like this one. Under his command, America projects power with confidence and brings our people home with victory. And that continues today, by the way. Per the president's direction, today will be the largest volume of strikes since day one of this operation. Tomorrow, even more than today. And then Iran has a choice. Choose wisely, because this president does not play around. You can ask Soleimani, you can ask Maduro, you can ask Khomeini. To those heroes who planned and executed these rescues, your nation stands in awe. I stand in awe. The chairman stands in awe. We all stand in awe of your professionalism and bravery. We serve for you. You embody the very best of America. To the rescued airmen and their families, welcome home. Your courage and endurance, the quiet declaration of faith amid the storm, inspires us all. God is good every day. And to our adversaries watching from Tehran, let this be a clear message. The United States military will go anywhere, at any time, to protect our own and complete the mission. We execute with precision. We control the sky. You see, we flew for 7 hours in daylight over Iran to get the first pilot. And we flew 7 hours in the middle of the night to get the second. And Iran did nothing about it. We fight with honor, and under President Trump's leadership, we win. So God bless our troops, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. A note before I start, I know many of you want specific details in these briefings. We will share what we can, but I will retain what I must in the event that we have to go do this again sometime. And I cannot stress the importance, as the President said, around operational security. The Secretary and I will do a more detailed briefing tomorrow morning, and we look forward to sharing the details that we can. On Thursday, 2 April at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:40 in the morning, local Iran time, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center, which handles the Central Command area of responsibility, declared an isolated personnel recovery event for a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, which was down in hostile Iranian territory. The pilot and weapons system officer had both safely ejected and were isolated behind enemy lines. Following confirmation of active rescue beacons and on the direction of the Secretary and by order of the President, a rescue operation was launched with the stated purpose of bringing both Americans home safely. As the Secretary said, several hours later on the morning, after positively locating the front seater, call sign Dude 44 Alpha, and aware of an aggressive ongoing search by the enemy, a U.S. Central Command plan was approved by the Secretary and the President. Shortly thereafter, a U.S. Air Force Combat Search and Rescue Task Force comprised of A-10 Warthogs in their Sandy role, and I'll describe what that is in a minute, HC-130 Combat King 2s, HH-60 Jolly Green 2 helicopters, and Air Force Special Warfare Airmen, a package comprised of combat rescue officers and pararescueman operators, audaciously penetrated enemy territory in broad daylight to find, fix, and recover Dude 44 Alpha from behind enemy lines. This was an incredibly dangerous mission, an incredibly dangerous undertaking, but a filled promise made to every American warfighter that you will not be left behind. We will always come find you, and we will always bring you home. Over the next hours, the Search and Rescue Task Force crossed the beach, entered into Iranian airspace, protected by a fighter strike package, and moved into the objective area, all under fire. En route, as some of you have seen on social media, the helicopters took gas off the C-130s and pressed onward and forward up into the objective area. While this was ongoing and out in front of them, the Sandy flight of A-10s and other remotely piloted aircraft, drones, and other tactical aircraft were violently suppressing and engaging the enemy in a close-in gunfight to keep them away from the front seater and allow the pickup force to get into the objective area. During this engagement, one of the Sandy aircraft, the one primarily responsible for communicating with the downed pilot, was hit by enemy fire. This pilot continued to fight, continued the mission, and then upon exit, flew his aircraft into another country and determined that the airplane was not landable. This was one of our A-10 Sandy aircraft. The pilot then made the decision to eject over friendly territory and was quickly and safely recovered and is doing fine. After picking up Dude 44 Alpha, the HH-60 Jolly Green fight was engaged by every single person in Iran who had a small arms weapon. And one of the aircraft, the trailing aircraft, took several hits. The crew sustained minor injury, and they are going to be fine. A note for those of you that do not know what a Sandy does. Named after the flight call sign that did this very mission in Vietnam, flying A-1 Sky Raiders and A-7 Corsairs. A Sandy has one mission: get to the survivor, bring the rescue force forward, and put themselves between that survivor on the ground and the enemy. They are committed to this. This is what they live for, and this is what they've trained for over many, many years. The A-10 force and the rescue force did a fantastic job rescuing Dude 44 Alpha. He was recovered Friday afternoon. As I said, and the nation needs to know this, this was an incredibly brave and courageous mission, and a testament to the courage, skill, and tenacity of the joint force and our leaders, and especially a daylight option. Having the guts to try means so much to so many. Meanwhile, the backseater, as the president and the secretary have said, had continued to work and survive. Through the hours of daylight, Dude 44 Bravo, the backseater, evaded. Using every means available, the efforts of the United States military, the Central Intelligence Agency, and others were attempting to find and locate with precision Dude 44 Bravo, the backseater. A note on the backseater and the front seater. The single most important contributor to a successful rescue operation is the spirit of attack inside the heart of that downed aviator. Their will to survive, their will to evade, their will to recover is everything. In this case, the backseater's absolute commitment to surviving made much of our efforts possible. On Saturday, 4 April, after establishing positive communications with the backseater, we learned, as the president said, that he was injured and actively evading enemy forces. And thanks to our interagency partners, we were able to get eyes on his location and positively ID him. Throughout this entire time, the enemy force continued to search for 44 Bravo, and the joint force continued to strike them over and over and over again. Fighting off marginal weather in Iran and the enemy's search for a second time on Saturday, at the recommendation of the CENTCOM commander and at the approval of the Secretary and the President, we launched a rescue task force to recover Dude 44 Bravo. Again, this came to the President and the Secretary for approval, this time with a much larger force package based on the time that the enemy had to prepare to find 44 Bravo. Again, this force was protected by A-10 Warthogs using the Sandy call sign. And this force had one single mission: do everything they can to bring an American home. This meant having a plan, being prepared to execute that plan, and more importantly, being prepared for multiple simultaneous contingencies. And because of this force's professionalism, grit, and determination, fight off two enemies at the same time: the enemy searching for 44 Bravo and contingencies, which anyone who has done these types of missions knows we run into every single time. The force fought off both of those enemies incredibly well. During the period of darkness on Saturday, and as the Secretary said, into Easter Sunday and into the daylight, the force fought its way in and rescued Dude 44 Bravo. They were protected overhead by an air armada, including tactical drones, strike aircraft, and others. The force fought through multiple simultaneous contingencies, something no other nation, no other military can do, and safely returned Dude 44 Bravo, the backseater, home, and all other Americans home as well. At midnight 12 local Eastern time, Easter Sunday, more than 50 hours after the start of this operation, The Joint Personnel Recovery Center declared Dude 44 Bravo, both the front and back seater, returned to friendly territory. The courage demonstrated by both the pilot and the weapons system officer while isolated and them invading the enemy cannot be overstated. Their grit and warfighting tenacity is a direct result of the absolute trust they have in our rescue forces, their training, and their will to survive and return. They always knew that we would be ordered to go get them, and they always knew that we would be coming to get them. These two operations reflect our nation's most sacred obligation to our military service members. We leave no one behind, bless you. It also perfectly captures the first truth of our special operations forces, that people are more important than hardware. That is the standard we live by, and the rescue forces that execute these missions operate under a clear motto: these things we do that others may live. Their actions were a direct embodiment of that commitment to others, and I could not be more proud of each and every one of them today. As the Secretary said to our enemies, this operation serves as a clear reminder of the capability and will of America's joint force. The United States of America will recover our warfighters anywhere in the world, under any conditions, when we want to. We will always bring overwhelming skill and firepower. To every member of the Joint Force, our interagency partners, the leadership at CENTCOM, and our leaders at the department and above, thank you. I'm proud of each and every one of you and thankful to our deployed forces and their families. And lastly, and most importantly, to Dude 44, welcome home. Job well done. Thank you.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And these two gentlemen have been, from day one, they've been perfecto. You know, I got to know General Kane in my first term because he was able to take out ISIS in 4 weeks instead of the 4-year projection that was given to me by other much lesser generals. I said, you know, if I ever do this again, that's going to be the head of my Joint Chiefs of Staff. And we worked it that way, didn't we? It's amazing. He took out ISIS. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. I was told it would take 4 years. I flew to Iraq to find out with the greatest equipment in the world, why would it take 4 years? And he told me, sir, it won't. It'll take 4 weeks and you'll have time left over. And that's exactly what happened. So he's great. And Pete, all I can say is that he was treated very unfairly. And now those same people that treated him unfairly, that fought against him, they called me up saying, what a great choice he was. They said, well, what happened during his nomination? What happened to you? I'm telling you, people that were not for him, senators, friends of mine, sir, I don't think you're doing the right thing. Now they're calling me up. What a choice. These two guys are fantastic. And John Ratcliffe was incredible. It was actually their genius that called us from, he was 40 miles away. And he said, you know, we're seeing something moving up in the mountain. This is at night. And they kept the camera on him for 45 minutes. He wasn't moving. And they said, you know, probably wrong, but we're seeing something moving. This is a vast mountain, vast, thick, with bushes, trees. He said, we see something moving 40 miles away. It was the head of a human being. I'm telling you, it's moving. And then all of a sudden, 45 minutes later, he moved a lot. He stood up and they said, we have him. And that was really the beginning of something incredible. We had an idea where he was, but not specifically. That's a big mountain. So I want to thank the CIA too. I don't think they get enough credit for the great job they've done. Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this great opportunity. Country has super army. You make a difference, Mr. President. Thank you for your greatest leadership.
Thank you.
I have 2 quick questions, Mr. President. What was your reaction when you learned that Kurdistan region had resumed exporting oil to the international market with your support as United States of America?
Well, I expected that. We've gotten along with the Kurds for a long time, so I expected that.
Another question: What would be your reaction if the Iranian people rise up against their regime during a ceasefire, Mr. President?
Well, they should do it, but again, the consequences are great. I mean, they were told if you protest, you will be shot immediately. You saw what happened to the young wrestler. He was a great champion, by the way. He was a great wrestler, one of the top in the world. And he and his two friends were hung. And all they did was say a little bit about liberty. They wanted liberty, and they were violently executed. But the number is up to probably 45,000 people were killed. So, you know, when somebody stays in a house, when they know if they walk out of the house to protest, they'll be immediately shot and killed. And they issued that, you know, that was publicly issued. It's not a secret. That's why so many people say, oh, well, why are you doing this way? We can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You know, we got regime change. We're dealing with a much different regime than before. We're dealing with different people. They're smarter. I think they're sharper and far less radical. We have regime change, but we didn't do this for regime change. We did it for the fact, and my view is very simple. I saw somebody said, oh, he doesn't have a plan. I have the best plan of all, but I'm not going to tell you what my plan is. You know, they want me to say, here's my plan. We're going to attack at 9:47 in the morning, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to, and if you don't do that, they say, I have a plan. These people know what the plan is. Everybody here knows what the plan is, but it's very unfair to say we don't, because I don't mind being insulted. I've been insulted for many years by the fake news, but you can't. It's so bad for the people that are so pro. You just saw two great, and John Ratcliffe, three unbelievable people. They have a plan. Every single thing has been thought out by all of us. But I can't reveal the plan to the media. So, you know, but we're just thrilled by the success of this operation. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said Iranians would be mad if you stopped these attacks, but why would they want you to blow up their infrastructure, to cut off their power? Wouldn't that be punishing Iranians for the actions of the regime?
They would be willing to, and it's suffering. They would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have, and we've had numerous intercepts. Please keep bombing. Bombs that are dropping near their homes. Please keep bombing. Do it. And these are people that are living where the bombs are exploding. And when we leave and we're not hitting those areas, they're saying, please come back, come back, come back. These are the people. I don't know what they do. All I can tell you is they want freedom. They have lived in a world that you know nothing about. It's a violent, horrible world where if you protest, you are shot. Remember the great woman protests where they had 400,000, 500,000 women, and they were all enthused and they were going to protest, and everybody said, oh, the regime's going to come to an end. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, 5, 6 different areas. A woman would go down right between the eyes. They had snipers. They had 5 snipers. That's all it took. And those 400,000 or 500,000 women said, oh, my God, what's that? Oh, look over there. What's that? A woman shot right between the eyes. And after 5 or 6 of them go down, then you start hearing the purr through the vast number of people. And then they said, oh, my God, who would do that? And they're incredible people, but they've lived so horribly. They've lived so horribly. You know, Iran was a great country if you go back 25 years ago or so. The Persian people, they're incredible, smart, brilliant, actually. And I know so many. I know coming from New York, originally, I know so many people from Iran. They're incredible people, incredible energy, and very, very brilliant people. But when you're standing in a group and protesting and you have a woman, in the case of the woman, remember the Great Woman March, everybody was saying, oh, this is the end of the country. And then snipers selectively picked. Every single one was shot right between the eyes from a long distance. They were on top of buildings. Nobody even knew where they were. Where are they coming from? This wasn't like a machine gun, which is also very bad. They've done that too. They did that recently. This was snipers sitting on the top of buildings, aiming and hitting women. And when they see people go down, and all of a sudden there's a riot in the reverse direction, and they never came out again. And a lot of the news doesn't talk about that. They talk about, oh, women's rights. You want to see women's rights? You're not going to see it there. It's amazing when I see some of the stupid people like, AOC +3, all that group. They talk about, oh, freedom for Iran. They don't tell you the real facts. Women, men, gays. How about gays for Iran? They kill the gays. They throw them off buildings. So I wonder what's going on. I can only say this. They want us to keep bombing, even if it jeopardizes, because their life is in much greater danger. They want freedom for Iran, but it's very hard for them to protest. I actually tell them, I said, don't go out. I fully understand. Nobody in this room would go out. I don't think there's any, because frankly, it's not a question of bravery. We're all brave, right? You're brave, I'm brave, we're all brave. But we're also intelligent. If you have people shooting at you, expert shots with the best rifles you can get, and hitting you right between the eyes every single time, and you're looking here and you're seeing and you're looking here, you're out of there. I don't care who it is.
Mark Barrett, Fox News.
I know that.
Oh, thank you.
How would I know that? Go ahead.
America's watching. No,
Good job.
Can we go back to the weekend? First off, was everyone on board with the operation, or were there people that were trying to talk you out of going through with the operation this weekend?
Not everybody was on board.
Somebody else within?
No, there was military people, very professional, that preferred not doing it. These two were totally on board, which was very important. They weren't. I would have had a little difficulty. But no, there were military people that said, you just don't do this. You don't go into the heart of a very powerful military. This is, hey, you have countries and countries. You have some countries where military is not their strong suit. This whole thing is militarized like nobody's ever seen before. Half the people are wearing uniforms. And we had people within the military. Usually it's not done. That's one of the reasons, I was surprised. Somebody said it's the only time it's ever been done. I said, that's not possible. But it is possible, because you're going into hundreds of thousands of soldiers along the path. I mean, look at some of the helicopters, how they got hit. So, yeah, there were people within the military that said it's a wise. And don't forget, how many men did you send altogether, approximately, for the operation?
I'd love to keep that a secret.
Okay, well, we are. But I will tell you the number. I'll keep it a secret, but it was hundreds and hundreds of these people. That's pretty good. Is he central casting? But hundreds of people went into this journey. Hundreds of people could have been killed. Forget about the equipment. A lot of equipment. Nobody cares. Hundreds of people could have been killed. So we had people that were within the military that said this is not a wise, and I understood that, but I decided to do it.
Was there a point that that you were thinking there's too much on the line, and somebody was saying maybe we abort this now and wait? I mean, given the resource, like the general said, it seemed like there was so much on the line here. You must have been thinking, well, this could have completely changed.
So the first one, which was in many ways as dangerous as the second.
All right. Well, I thought it was a kind of an appropriate time to get out. We've been listening for an hour, and the questions could probably go on for another half of an hour or so. But I wanted to bounce out of that. I haven't been that interested in hearing about a military operation in a long time. And that was freaking breathtaking. That makes me so proud to be an American. Listening to the absolute silence, there is not a whisper. There's one sneeze. And Dan Kane's like, and other news that God bless you, right? There's not a sound. So how is the media going to spin this? How are they going to come out of this and not say this is a triumphant celebration? This, of all things, should be a moment that is beyond Republican or Democrat. That is irrespective. America is irrespective of party. And the idea that nobody is left behind should not be a Republican idea. It should be something that brings us all total breathlessness as we listen to the details. I'm amazed by it. Anyway, I want to hit a couple of our sponsors before we move along, but I think we're gonna debrief some of that, because I think what the president said, what I think Ratcliffe said, Pete said, Dan said, like, let me tell you about Texas Bullion Exchange real fast, you guys. I want to hit this because especially our local sponsors and our main sponsor, the guys at Texas Bullion Exchange, WendyLovesGold.com, they don't just sponsor this program, You and Me Talking. They sponsor the podcast. So anytime somebody listens to our podcast, they're going to hear an ad for Texas Bullion Exchange. Why? Because they're not just a sponsor, they're a partner of mine. I have bought gold and silver from them twice, and I will buy it again. It's not just one of those things that you do. It's like a tattoo. You don't just ride one Harley Davidson. You just don't get one tattoo. You got to keep going back because it just feels right, right? That is what Texas Bullion is all about. WendyLovesGold.com, 855-927-5557. These guys are legit. You're going to love them. They're going to help you out. They're going to teach you all about precious metals investing. You do not have to be rich to do this. That is a huge misnomer. It costs nothing to call. 855-927-5557. So we're coming up on
06. So started top of the hour.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. WendyBellRadio.com if you want to join us in the live video stream. You know, I have a whole show programmed for today. I had every expectation that the president was going to come out relatively on time. You know, when you talk about a military operation like this and you move it into the White House press briefing room and you bring in the military hardware that the president did with your head of CIA, but you head of the Department of War and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I was pretty confident he was going to hit it kind of close. I have to tell you, I have not been enraptured by a military story probably since, I don't know, it was just recently, it was the takedown of Maduro and his wife. But this story of this rescue of this one guy, dude 44 Bravo, an airman who ejected over deep in Iranian airspace, right? The references to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. You think about what this guy had to do. He's attached to his chair, strapped into his chair, parachutes up, comes down somewhere, has to get away from the parachute, away from the chair, as far away from it as possible, and is injured, is badly injured, and has to have the will and the resolve to not just survive, but to be the beacon, if you will, of one of the most stunning and daring military rescue operations ever in American military history, ever, right? That moment, what the president just told us, what Pete Hegseth just revealed, ladies and gentlemen, reached and should reach the 3.9 million American high school juniors who might be on the fence about what they want to do with their lives. I don't know if I want to go to college. I'm not so sure it's for me. Well, those men and women who hear the president, who hear the no man left behind, who hear what it took, ladies and gentlemen, it's not dissimilar to what encouraged Sean Parnell after 9/11 2001 to join the Army. You know what I was thinking as Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, is detailing essentially the chronology of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? This airman manages to crawl up, scale up a cliff, a hillside, to find a crevice to hide behind, and then to be plucked to safety on Easter Sunday, to be born again, if you will. It is truly breathtaking. It was 9/11 when so many young men and women, but young men, did a total pivot in their lives. And they said, you know what? You want to fight America? You want to kill my people? You want to destroy buildings? You want to crash planes? You want to rattle the American resolve, the will of the greatest people on planet Earth? I'll fight you. And then what happened during Joe Biden? The ridiculosity of the LGBT nonsense in the military, the feelings and emotions, replacing the ethos of the warrior. And we had to change the rules so people could enlist because nobody was. We're like, well, you know what? If you're a little overweight, we'll take you. You're podgy, we'll take you. Can't run? Well, we'll work on that. We just need people. Nobody wanted to be a part of Joe Biden's military. Why? There was no pride. There was no unity. There was no America first. There was no warrior ethos. It was cut and run and file your nails. And what lipstick shade is that? Are you kidding me? While the president was speaking, I did a little research into how long it took the various branches of the United States military to reach their recruitment levels after they plummeted and couldn't fill the ranks under Joe Biden. Did you know that the Army met its goal 4 months after President Trump put his hand on the Bible and took his second oath of office? 4 months, the United States Army was completely packed with new hires, new members. It was 2 weeks after that, in middle June of 2025, that the U.S. Navy hit its recruitment goals. It was 2 weeks after that that the Air Force hit its goals. And by September of 2025, what was that? 7 months, 8 months after the president took office the second time, every single branch of the United States military had met and exceeded its goals. And by the end of 2025, the military recruitment reached a 15-year high. What do you think just happened? Young men and young women out there, perhaps a little wayward, perhaps doubting of their path in life, not necessarily knowing where to go, where their passion was, maybe just heard from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and from the Secretary of War, we will never leave you behind. In a country that many of us could see has left them behind. This military said, never will you be The president also said something very intriguing that I imagine he'll have to drill down on. This is the part that piqued my interest. Of course, there was a freaking leaker. Does everybody out there understand the war this president is engaged in every single damn time he wakes up and gets ready for the day? The people in his own administration, the two-facers who are America last, deep state rhino scumbags who would love to see anybody fail so long as it tarnished this president's reputation. Somebody leaked that one of the pilots was missing. That's a pivotal decision. That individual leaked that information to a member of the media. Why on earth would the media project it? My 2 cents? Who has been deeply embedded in Iran? What news outlet, ladies and gentlemen? Who was given access by the Iranian regime? Who championed that it's only on their network that you're going to see something you'll never see anywhere at CNN? So whomever the reporter was who leaked those details or broadcast those details, I guarantee they're getting a knock on the door imminently, and there will be no protection of my sources. Okay, then you can go to jail. That's scary, ladies and gentlemen. That's scary. That the degree of resisting this one president, whose greatest offense to them has been his desire to make America great again. Look, all this stuff that's going on, it's so irrespective of you and of me. It's about our children. It's about our grandchildren. Because we've shafted this young generation. They're shafted. They're not raised with people dressing up to go outside. You guys see any old footage of baseball games, World Series, any big event? All of the people dressed to the nines, women wearing dresses, gloves, men wearing hats and suits, button downs and leather shoes. Now it's scumbags rolling out of bed to hit Walmart on a Sunday, riding on airplanes in their pajamas and bedhead, and people on the street tatted up with 5 different colors of hair. That's the new normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. Any more than this president wanted terror to be the booga, booga, booga around every corner for your children or mine. It's time that we reclaim America's morality. We reclaim our decency, and we, damn it, expect more, because we can deliver more. That press conference may well trigger an onslaught of military enlistment, the likes of which this country has not seen. It ought to. Quick timeout on the Wendy Bell radio program. We'll be back right after this. A leaker, huh? Let me tell you about the Simkovich Concussion Institute. When my friend Diane told me her description of leaving Dr. Simkovich after just her first treatment, she'd spent a couple hours with Dr. Simkovich. She had that terrible essential tremor that was really rocking her world. She was hopeful, but not necessarily optimistic that anything he was going to do was going to help. And Dr. Simkovich himself said to me, Wendy, we don't normally treat people with essential tremor at our concussion institute. And I said, I know, doc, but nobody's been able to help her. Maybe you're that bullet in the night. And my friend texted me after that first meeting with him and said, I'm literally hopping out of the doctor's office. I'm so excited. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. 412-366-3700. You're not supposed to suffer. You're not supposed to live in pain and suffering, so don't. Because we're running out of time, because a full hour of our show is gobbled up by the president, and I'm glad that it was. I want to thank all of you who have trusted me. You know what? I don't see politically through the same lens as my sister, and our relationship has been strained in past years. But I love her. Her birthday was the day before mine. Do you know what I sent her? Tulip blooms. The velour massaging oil, which is phenomenal for hands and feet and elbows and bellies and any part of your skin that is dry and needs some nourishment. It will rock your world. Let it absorb into your skin. Wow. I also got my sister a beautiful cucumber candle. I can't wait to hear how it smells. And I got her this wonderful it's a blue skin product for your face. So if you have rosacea and crazy pigmenting, it's like this super calming serum. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. You'll get a discount. I'm telling you what, it is unlike anything I've ever splurged for myself. You're worth it. You're worth it. And so are the men in your life. They'll love it too. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy.
For those that in the stream that's saying they were missing Sean Parnell when stuff like this goes on, no, he had a big hand in that. So, big hand in those remarks.
I'm just super proud of our friend. You know? Super proud to know people connected to that. One of these days, Sean will hook us up and we'll have Secretary Hegseth on. I'm sure he's a little busy at present. God, I need to go to the bathroom.
I asked him about aliens.
You did?
Sean.
Yeah.
He's like, we have not released anything yet. I said, well, we're interested.
They're going to have to be ginger about how they do that. It's going to have to be managed. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we got through that.
You did a great job, Brock. Well done. It was without a hitch. It was without incident. And that's obviously credit to you. So thank you for that. So who do you guys think the leaker is? You know, that press conference, that mission, this holy weekend, this whole everything is when the little boys of America wake up and say, I want to be a warrior. Now, how do you feel if you're a parent of teenagers or young men, and I've got 5, all of whom are draftable? Well, 2 will be soon. How do you feel about them being of that age with this president vis-a-vis of administrations past? In no way would I have allowed my boys, if I had a hand in it, to have joined the military under Joe Biden. Under no circumstance. He checked his watch on the freaking tarmac. What? How abjectly absurd, how insulting, how deluded, and how demented. I mean, if there was a day that you knew the dude wasn't there, that was the day. Joe Biden wearing a stupid mask after that whole charade. Looking impatient as though the transfer of dead soldiers' bodies was crimping his schedule. Are you insane? And you and I are supposed to be nail biting on the fence. Ooh, can the Republicans win in the midterms? Are you insane? What kind of lunatic votes against success? What kind of lunatic votes against safety and security? What kind of crazy resist groomed nutcase doesn't see the difference? Wow. It's crazy. I don't know how to put into words pride. You know, I experienced something really wild this weekend. My youngest two sons went out of their way to do something individually special for me for my birthday. One got in touch with my father to find out what my mom's favorite flowers were, because he wanted to go out and make sure I had them, because he knew at 17 that on my birthday I would be missing her. And so I got red roses and calla lilies. And my other son went out and bought me custom-made golf balls. And on the golf balls, it says, "I love you forever," and is a picture of my father and me. I don't know if I've ever received more meaningful gifts. I might have a different perspective on some of this stuff that we watch going on in the world, but I'm laser focused on what this administration tells us they're going to do and what they do. And man, I have been so hungry for it. I can't wait to see how the media spins what we all just heard. They were all there in the press briefing room. There's no way to twist it. There's no way to manipulate it. There's no way to molest it unless you just suck. And then you have to ask these outfits, what's so hard about America first? What's so hard about that bond? What do you hate so much about one man that you'd be willing to celebrate failure as a country if it would bruise him? What happened to these people? When we come back after a short break, we're going to be talking about this UFO situation, unidentified alien phenomena, whatever you want to call it. Because this administration is sort of sitting on a powder keg right now. It's on the back burner, obviously. However, this information is going to have to come out. It has been bottled up, but now we have 10 missing or dead scientists and researchers. We have people coming out of the woodwork with their UFO stories, including some whose credibility is unimpeachable. How is this administration going to tell the American people, oh yeah, about aliens? We've been studying them for probably 100 years. We just haven't let you know about it. Well, secret's over. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I've got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I will have to say that I sit through press conferences because kind of have to for the job. But that was one of the better press conferences. Everybody that got up was clear-minded and laser focused on what they were talking about. They put the attention where it needed to be on the mission. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of things. I listen usually when there's a press conference, then we take it, which isn't very rare, which is very rarely. I'll sit here and read what you guys are taking from it. I didn't. I mean, I was watching just like you guys were. It's pretty impressive. The leaker has to be from CNN. Has to be.
Can I please show this to you?
Let me set this up. They were super. I had to go Friday to pick up the computer, and they were there, and they were super excited to tell me. Chris was super excited. Chris was super excited to tell me, and Bobby was super excited to tell me how he went about getting it, which I thought was sweet. But go ahead.
So, tailor-made distance balls.
Which you need.
It's a picture of my dad and me.
Will you use one?
He was so excited.
Yep.
Bobby said it took him an hour to figure out the best way to arrange the flowers. Because he wanted it to be just right. Like the message isn't, I mean, Chris had to plan this. It arrived on my birthday. This isn't something that you're like, oh snap, mom's birthday's tomorrow. Quick, what can I run out and get? And then Ryan, he took our Costa Rica family photos and made an album in memory of my mom. Right? It's being a part of a herd. Like Trump I want to tell you about No. I want to tell you about Juvenon, okay? Bloodflow7.com/Wendy, because they have something that I think is extraordinarily unique. What is extraordinarily unique is a product that is not pharmacologically based. So you're not getting a prescription. You're not giving Pfizer money. You're not injecting yourself with shots that crush your appetite, but have terrible side effects for a lot of people and unknown long-term effects. This is a healthy weight loss tool that's meant specifically to trigger that hormone that you need to be able to say that you're full. That's called the GLP, right? GLP-1 Gold is what it is. This is what it looks like. It's 30% off at bloodflow7.com. This is one of those things that they say, don't take if you don't have a lot to lose, because it's going to crush your appetite and it's going to help you lose weight safely, and a lot of it. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Okay? 30% off everything they do. I should also note, well, I'll do that when we come back. All right.
Are we starting at 2:30?
Yes. Yes, we will. Wait, wrong.
So did you ever find out how REM worked?
No. He was upset that he did not go to bed early enough. And so, which is code for he stayed up and watched television, even though he shouldn't have. So we'll see. Joe tried REM last night, REM sleep, from Healthy Cell. And he was like, "What's in it?" And I'm like, "Read the directions. Read it. It's like it's right
Just
there."
eat it.
And he's like, "Oh, sounds good." And I'm like, "Well, hello, duh." So we'll see. But see, I'm not so sure Joe will give me a victory on that. We'll see what he does. You don't know. You don't know if you can ever be right.
He'll be like, "Well, I was really tired anyway, so."
Correct. It's almost like you're married to my husband. Okay. You know how it goes. It's just is what it is. I feel particularly greasy. Sorry. Fabulous. Okay, let's get some rumbles going. 244. This is great.
Rumble because today hasn't been a Shiite show.
I know, right? He works so to hear some of these folks talking now on television, on various podcasts, more and more people coming out. It's almost like there's a seal that needs to be broken. You know? You know, when you're holding it, you got to go to the bathroom and you're like, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom, but I don't want to go because if I go, then I'm going to have to go again." And you're like, "Oh, once you break the seal." That's sort of what happened. There's this giant pool of data and people out there who are like, "Look, I saw something. I know I did." There's documentation of alien life going back to the early 1900s, you guys. The National Archives has all of these links and you can lose yourself going back. But by and large, the people who've spoken about what they've experienced have been kind of categorized, put into a basket of kind of crazy. Yeah, but they're not. They're not. How many people, how many sailors at night have seen crazy stuff coming out of the water? Things going into the ocean. They cannot explain it. It does not make sense, but they saw it and it's corroborated by other people on board. How about farmers? Farmers, some of them working well into the evening hours, seeing things on their property, spaceships hovering overhead, their equipment malfunctioning, and them completely being unable to move what's going on. Shh. Don't talk about that stuff. Look, y'all and I, we've been through the ringer. They made up a virus. They made it up with the Chinese, right? They told us it came from some bat soup cocktail, right? Oh, it's so weird. How could it possibly have gotten everybody sick? Oh, who knows? That weird Wuhan Institute of Virology with the crap security protocol might have escaped. No, but hurry up. If you get this super magic mystery shot, you're going to be super duper until all of your, symptoms show up down the road. We've been through a hell of a lot, right? We don't want to be lied to about this. Government's going to have to be kind of ginger in how it handles this. That said, I found this very interesting. Benny Johnson. I know, I remembered it was Johnson and not Thompson. I know, I'm fabulous. Benny Johnson has this gentleman on his show, and his name is Dr. Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer was an emergency room physician for many years, and then he really became a ufologist, if you will. And he created this group called the Disclosure Project. And what it does is advocate for transparency to the American people, to the world, essentially, from the American government. There's got to be a way to get this information out. He is a top UFO expert now. And on Benny's show, he confirmed that the U.S. military has some alien human hybrid breeding programs. Say what? So I thought we would chew on this together. Here's audio soundbite number 1. And this Dr. Greer now warns that the fallout from poorly handled disclosure of U.S. alien encounters could be worse than the COVID panic. And he says, remember the electromagnetic pulse weapons that the U.S. military used in the Maduro operation? Listen closely.
I would like to offer to you the unredacted version of it. That's very sensitive for you to convey over to your friend, Mr. Vance. But I think that because he needs to get read in on this properly before speaking about it too much. It's a very serious issue. And I will tell you, if this is disclosed improperly, it'll be 1,000 times worse than COVID. And I think that when you're talking about the fact we are being visited by advanced civilizations, they are not hostile. If they were hostile, we'd be gone. But we have approached them very hostilely. We have literally downed at least 1,000 or more of their spacecraft using illegal electromagnetic pulse weapons. And I know where they're being used and how they're being used.
They said what? We've literally downed 1,000 of their spacecraft. We've downed it. We didn't know what was going on, probably. We're like, well, it seems like it's dangerous. Pow, pow, down it goes. Oh, where is all of the material from that? Where are the so-called biologics, which would be whatever the fleshy material of the aliens inside? Where is all that? Well, it exists. It exists. And then this Dr. Stephen Greer says, you might want to sit down for this one because the biggest scandal, he says, in U.S. history has been going on right under our noses. He says, we've captured aliens we've either shot down or who've crashed, and we have created, we meaning people, I guess, in the military, have created this really weird hybrid breeding program. Say what?
And we have captured those bodies, some living, some dead. And Mr. Gates was correct in saying that there are some gruesome programs being run by military where they've been trying to combine DNA of these creatures with humans, and they come out with these monstrous looking things that are used to abduct people. So everyone's here of alien abductions. It's not the extraterrestrials doing it. It's a covert human program. And we know this and we can prove it. So this is a huge story. It's the biggest scandal in the history of the United States in its founding. I think for our 250th anniversary, we should be liberated from the secrecy, and these extraordinary technologies that could benefit all of humanity need to begin to be looked at, to be brought out. So that's what we're doing with the Disclosure Project.
Liberated from this secrecy, a covert human breeding program? Like, what? Honestly, what surprises you anymore? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be surprising. And it kind of plays with some of the things I've said about the stolen election of 2020. How do you get so many people to be in on something so huge, right? And in the case of the election, so wrong, so fundamentally contrary to the basic tenets of our founding. How do you get so many people like Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman and all the other numbskulls who went along with cheating so Joe Biden, the zombie, right, could win allegedly? It's the same sort of idea. There's that chilling effect that President Trump mentioned. He was talking specifically moments ago about women in Iran coming out and marching for their liberation and their freedom. And all it took was snipers on the top of buildings to take out 5 of them with bullets between the eyes to send that message loud and clear. Probably don't want to speak out about much. Probably don't want to be sharing stuff. And now that you've got these 8 or 10 researchers who are either dead or missing or what have you, who wants to talk about anything? Audio soundbite number 3. The administration has to release this information the right way. One more time, UFO expert Dr. Stephen Greer.
Here's some very good news for the public. Once this gets sorted out and the White House and the Congress can figure out a path to bring this information out properly, if it comes out properly, the golden age that the president speaks about will be completely possible. You know, within a generation, there'd be no poverty, no pollution, and, quote, free energy for every person on the earth at no cost, zero cost. That's what we're talking about. Because the energy systems that run these devices, there's no rockets, there's no fuel, there's no jet. It's a type of physics that deals with 0-point energy or the quantum vacuum. And this is where it's estimated that in a coffee mug, within that space of a coffee mug, there's enough latent energy to boil off all the oceans of the world. It's called the 0-point energy field. Tesla called it the infinite energy field. I don't know that it's infinite, but it's vast. And so that technology, which is how you run these craft, they're not running with a nuclear device on them or jet fuel. And we can prove that. You hear no sound. You hear no rockets. Well, it's electromagnetic propulsion, anti-gravity, but the energy system is also a very advanced magnetic field energy generation that doesn't require a fuel source. And so you're looking at a total revolution industrially in how the world lives. And by, you know, I have 11 grandchildren. The world they'll be living in will be so different from this world we're in now that it'll barely resemble it, you know, which is wonderful.
Wonderful, and a lot of industries will absolutely shut down. He's talking finally in this small audio soundbite, not just about fuel, not just about energy, not just about completely transforming how you and I live. He's talking about medical advancements that will be beyond our wildest imaginations. What?
The other part of it is that there are medical, I'm speaking here as a doctor, and some things I've seen in a covert underground facility that would be extraordinary for medicine in terms of treatment that are related to the same area of physics. And those would revolutionize medicine. Those need to come out.
Why do you think people are being killed? There's no money in you being well, you guys. How many industries are tied into all of these things that you and I pay through the nose for? What if you didn't have to be sick? What if there was no cancer? Now, I want to play you this from Representative Tim Burchett, Congressman Burchett from Tennessee. He's on with Tucker Carlson. He's like, look, these creatures and crafts are absolutely real. I've been told they have been, and they're in the sea. Listen.
High-ranking member of the Navy described some underwater experiences they'd had. Was something that was doing 200 miles. And the best thing we got is probably 40. It
was doing 200 miles an hour underwater?
Underwater, big as a football field. And that's no fish.
So is it possible, given our current understanding of physics, for any man-made machine to go anywhere near 200 miles an hour underwater?
Not with our technology, no. The best we have is probably in the high 30s. And he was converting it. Of course, knots is what the Navy guys would do, but there's nothing.
If I fire a 30-06 or any high caliber rifle underwater, it doesn't go 200 miles an hour. I can probably catch it in the length of a swimming pool or so.
Yeah, or it just falls down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like,
so we've got, and this was described to me in areas, and I was quoted on some. I was just all I do is quote people that have knowledge. But this was one that was he was talking about. There are 5 or 6, I think, deep water areas of the ocean. You've traveled a lot. I have not. There's not a lot of deep water areas around East Tennessee at Fort Loudon Lake or anything, but they're talking miles deep. And of course, you've heard this before. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do the surface of the ocean. And he said these are areas where we see a high propensity of these UFOs.
5 deep sea areas where we know of multiple extraterrestrial sightings and events. Oh, yeah. And you've probably been to a couple. I got the list for you coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Ireland contracting. Gary comes to my house Wednesday measuring all my skylights. Look, when I tell you that we have wonderful sponsors and that you should trust them, I use them, I trust them. Brock uses them, Brock trusts them. Ireland Contracting, if you're in southwestern Pennsylvania, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I know the owners. We know the owners, and they are just good people. Just good quality people who won't screw you over. Kelly Morgan for Morgane's Fitness, also a local sponsor, 4 locations in Somerset and Cambria counties. If you're near Somerset or Cambria, look, the Richland location, they're having Kelly's having a 14th birthday anniversary celebration on April 18th. And everybody is welcome. Come on in, no charge. Bring a friend. She's going to have all sorts of food trucks. There's going to be all sorts of celebratory stuff to do, and deals if you want to join. Deals if you want to talk to her in person about the Ignite 90 program. You give her 3 months, she gives you your body back. How about that? Morgane's Fitness, MORGAINZ Fitness.com. Well, I got in almost all of our sponsors, all but one. And I'm not going to jam it in right now because it's not like that. Yes. Yes.
So we going bottom now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please. Trying to figure out what we're doing on the fly, guys. There's some stuff that Brock cut for today that I want to use for tomorrow because it's worth talking about. You have to plan for every contingency here because you just never know.
I think the whole hour that
I loved it.
we skipped.
We can almost move it. Uh-huh.
That's not going anywhere.
That's why I didn't want to hodgepodge anyway. I didn't want to cut and paste. Hey, if you can help us out and you're paying attention right now, it would be awesome if we could end with maybe 2.7 rumbles. That means another 180 of you would have to click that button underneath the video box. And I would be so grateful if you would. I paid attention to you guys, and your commitment to the president in that press conference was unwavering.
Yeah.
You guys did not go. All right, I have to tell you where these 5 places are. I just teaser-beasered that. That would really suck if I had forgotten. Then we have 2 videos at the end I want to show you, which I think are very interesting. Even if we scrap the first one. Well, we'll see what timing we have. What's our final out? 58? 58.50. Okay, so.
I think if you scrap either, it's the first one.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, why don't we just do that anyway?
Okay, be worried.
We'll
That's
just
the shorter one.
Yeah, we'll just do that anyway.
All right, I'm getting rid of it.
That's fine. Oh. You knew I was going to do that. I
didn't change anything.
I love here at the end, your numbers are going up, you guys. Hi, Grandma. Grammar Cop. Oh, Grammar Cop. Hi. Here on this show is to kind of share with you what we think is the interesting news of the day. Not to scare you. I'm not here to scare you or alarm you or, propagandize you, deceive you. It is just foolish for us to pretend this whole UFO alien thing isn't going to blow up, because it's blowing up. And I told you before the break, as Congressman Tim Burchett was telling Tucker Carlson, that these alien creatures and their spacecraft are very much real. They have been documented. They have been studied by the U.S. military for many, many years. And he said that there are 5 deep sea areas where we know of robust UFO activity, should we say. And so I Googled that. He didn't give us the answer of which 5. And I'm like, which 5? So I went this morning. I'm like, you can't leave me hanging. So we went and we looked. Here's what we got. The sites, the key hotspots for paranormal UFO activity. The Atlantic Ocean near the Bahamas. It's right at the tongue of the ocean. It features a U.S. Navy test facility. Frequent UFO reports of objects plunging to 3,000 feet. That's kind of weird. So right near the Bahamas. How about the California coast, including Catalina Island, where I have been? Top sightings with 389 reports. Clusters of objects entering and exiting the water without splashes. Huh. How about off the Florida coast? Second highest with 306 reports. Orange dot clusters on maps near the shorelines. What are those? Also, the Baltic Sea, the site of the famous anomaly in 1952 NATO Operation Mainbrace. Sightings of objects just rising up out of the water of the Baltic Sea and then in the water of Puerto Rico, right off of Puerto Rico. Video showing object moving 95 miles an hour underwater without slowing. All right, so those are your 5. I didn't want to tease you and then not deliver. Okay. So this is a very interesting soundbite. This is a liberal woman, a progressive, waking up when she realizes, the moment she realizes that what she has been brainwashed into thinking is total bogosity, and it has to do with the open border. Here you go.
I resisted for a long time this notion that Democrats were deliberately inviting masses of foreigners into the country because they wanted to grow little Democrats and create a one-party state. I've started to come around to that view. Before Trump effectively closed the southern border, I imagined a lot of it was incompetence and fecklessness. Now, there may be an element of that, but I think it was more intentional. The Biden administration opened that border on purpose and shipped people all over the country, wherever they wanted to go. They put illegal migrants with no ID onto commercial airplanes with regular passengers who all have to have, an impeccable national ID. I mean, it's just, there is design behind it. And I don't have any other theory aside from this pathological passion for minorities and a weird notion that people who are non-white are superior. I don't see any other reason for inviting so many people in, especially because, on the one hand, the left talks about, oh, we need these people economically. We have this aging age structure and, Social Security's imperiled and Medicare costs too much and we need young people to fill out the workforce. But then, they support family reunification, which means these people can bring in their parents, right? I mean, so much for improving the age structure.
It's almost like nothing that we're told by the left, by the deep state, by the uniparty, by the swamp, right? And this whole vision of that new world order, right? Nothing is believable, right? It's interesting because she says pathological passion for minorities. It's not even about that. It's not a passion about anybody. It's a numbers game. It's a math game. It is numbers. They need the bodies. They need the reason to have victims, to have voters. They need a population that'll vote for them because the American people have wisened up. Love that you were here with us today. I hope you come on back tomorrow. It'll be another great show. WendyBellRadio.com. Peace.